Donna, before we start talking about the solutions, tell me about Trump. I see online lots of stories about Black Americans starting or supporting Trump in larger numbers. What is the politics about all of this at the moment? Are more blacks fed up with Biden and going to support Trump this year, do you think?
What you see is Black Americans really taking a look at the policies that each of these two individuals put forward. During the Trump era, it was actually the golden era for African Americans. I mean, it was a blue collar boom. There was record home ownership. There was permanent funding for historically Black colleges. There was prison reform. There was entrepreneurship. I mean, the rate increases and financial stability of African Americans and those on the lower rung was faster than that in the 1%. Today in Bidenomics, you have the exact opposite.
Hmm.
Bidenomics is you pay more for less. You have artificial scarcity. All of a sudden you have white collar workers that have the same characteristics of the lower class. You have a shrinking middle class. I mean, they can't buy homes. They can't afford homes.
Yeah.
They can't afford vehicles. They're living paycheck to paycheck. I say paycheck to Wednesday, and then they have to borrow to the rest of the end of the week. All of a sudden, depleting savings. I mean, African Americans are paying attention, and not only that, more egregious is that the Biden administration has actually been importing huge numbers of illegal immigrants. And where are they being placed? In minority communities. All of a sudden, minority kids are being kicked out of their schools so you can house illegal immigrants. You have community centers where after school programs where they're being closed so that they can house illegal immigrants. People are being put out of senior citizen homes to make room for illegal immigrants. I mean, all of the money and resources that has been earmarked for African American communities are now going to illegal immigrants. And it's egregious. I mean, African Americans work really hard to become citizens and recognized as citizens in America. You think about the civil rights movement, Jim Crow, all of that. Now, all of a sudden, you have this huge population of illegal immigrants that automatically get citizenship. I mean, they might not get the papers, but they have all of the resources. Illegal immigrants in this country are getting as much as $9,000 a month, free housing, automatic loans, cars. They're getting every resource available that even African Americans to this day, some can't afford. And so what they're looking at is the fact that, wait a minute, this group who actually contributes their success in terms of being in positions because of African Americans have actually turned their backs and created policies that are hurting African Americans even more. And so I think that's the shift because people realize that the policies that the left has is actually hurting them and everybody's eyes are open. I mean, I'll tell you this. When Trump got in office, it was probably the best thing that happened to this country because all of a sudden, African Americans see the media bias, what they've talked about forever. They see the justice system being used against them, which they've been talking about forever, and they realize that all of these things that they believe to be true are true. Bidenomics is about having less, paying more for less. And all of a sudden, you have white collar workers that have the same characteristics as the working poor.
Yeah, and of course, the Biden administration, what's it doing with all that money? Well, it's servicing the huge debt because of all the money that they printed over the past couple of years. And of course, a lot of money is being sent to Ukraine as well. And ordinary Americans are paying for that. Now, Donna, we have run out of time, but I was going to ask you about crime. And, you know, there's lots of democratic states now where they've got a real problem, particularly that I think is affecting Black communities disproportionately. But we can't do it today. But please do come back on at some point over the next few weeks, and we'll talk about all of that. Donna Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.